Hi. So we're all ready to start week 3. This is all about language in the brain or neurolinguistics. So what we're doing this week is we are actually looking at the different parts of the brain or different sections of the brain and identifying what they do in terms of processing language. Okay, you're going to see that on the front page of our course, I have a picture of this fellow. His name is Phineas Gage, and he is really famous in linguistics. This is kind of the beginning of when neurolinguistics started. So this guy was working on the Transcontinental Railroad to connect the East Coast to the West Coast, and as he was, working on it, a railroad spike shot up clean through his skull. That is actually, well, it's a drawing, but they do actually still have his skull, and it has the holes in it. They actually still have the railroad spike. That is a photo of him holding it right there. And he survived. Okay, he was able to talk after his accident, after he recovered, and he was able to understand language, but there were some other things that he had problems with. And so his case really became the first, or one of the first times that doctors and scientists started looking at the idea of brain lateralization, which is the idea that one of the things that we know about the human brain, the mammals' brains in general, is that there are two different sides of the brain, two different hemispheres, the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, and each side is responsible for doing different functions, and that there are different parts of the brain that do different functions. And so, although we don't know everything about the brain, there are still a lot of things that we're still discovering. There's a lot that we do know. So I put his picture up here because it's just a really interesting case. And I even have a little, it's definitely not required, but there's an article there, and it has a short little 3-minute podcast if you want to listen to his story. It just gives you a little bit of background into what this is all about. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and take a look at that. But our assignments you can get to by using the modules tab on the left, and that'll take you straight into the modules, and then you can scroll down to week 3. And I do want to show you one thing if you don't know this. When you have your modules and you're all done with completing them, you can go ahead and just collapse them by clicking this little arrow, and then that kind of gets them out of the way. And then the next time you return to the modules page, when you log in, they'll still remain collapsed. And so you can kind of just keep track of, okay, I did everything in that module, and you're ready to move on to the next. Kind of a little bit easy way to keep things organized. So I hope that helps you. So go ahead and start with the overview page, and you can see that we have 3 assignments this week, a quiz on Wednesday, and then a couple of assignments on Sunday. So we'll just go on through. And the quiz is really mostly based on this textbook chapter from an ebook. It's all right here. It is a little bit dense reading. So what I'm going to suggest to you is, well, first watch the video just to kind of get an overview of what everything's about. And then there are 14 questions here. So what you should do is, and you can click here to download the chapter. You really, while you are looking at the questions, you should have the chapter open so that you can look at the questions and then look up the answer. Okay, I think that's probably going to be the easiest way to do this. And then again, you do have 3 chances, so I'm hoping that everyone can get a good score on this quiz. Okay, and then that takes us into the summary, and it's about aphasia. Aphasia is just the general term for a language disorder that is caused by some kind of trauma or injury, okay? So this is not something that someone is born with, okay? It's not a genetic disorder or anything like that. Usually aphasia is going to be caused by a stroke or a brain tumor, or in some cases like an injury, you know, like a hit on the head or car accident or something like that. So there's information about the two main types of aphasia that affect two different parts of the brain. And then I've got an article for you. And then I've actually got two examples of these two guys here. One has, this is pronounced Wernicke's, and then Broca. So this guy has Wernicke's aphasia, and then this guy has Broca's aphasia, and it's just examples of them talking. So after you read about the characteristics, then it's really interesting to see the examples of what they actually sound like here. And what I'm asking you to do here is just talk about the differences between the two kinds of aphasia. So just kind of a compare and contrast paragraph there. And then for the discussion, this is where we're going to start to get into kind of taking some of this information and applying it to the classroom. So this is just a real general assignment, but it is something that we can tie to language and tie to classroom teaching. So what I have here is an article that has a number of different speech disorders and language disorders. And so what I'm asking you to do is to choose one of them, okay? Just go through and you can just pick one of them. The link should take you to a little description about it. And you should be able to read about, you know, whichever one you choose. So let's say, you know, you choose this one, and then that's going to take you to this little other page that has this description. And then what you're going to do in the discussion is you are going to summarize this for the class, okay? So you are going to give a summary of the condition, you know, just talk about what it is, what the treatments are, what the causes are, you know, just give us the overview of it. And then for the replies, what I'd like you to do is pick two, any two of your classmates that you see that have given any of the disorders, and based on their description and their summary of the disorder, I want you to give some advice to the teacher of a child. So suppose they have a child in their class that has this disorder. Just, you know, think about, and, you know, it's not written down anywhere. You're not really going to be able to find this anywhere. Just, you know, use what you know, your common sense, you know, kind of, you know, what you know about your experience working with children and what you think might work. What kind of advice are you going to give that teacher? What specifically can the teacher do to encourage the child to develop their communication skills, to improve their communication skills, okay? So this should be a really interesting discussion, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with your responses to each other. Let me know if you have any questions about anything. I should be around most of the weekend, and I look forward to see what you have to say. All right, I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.